Hello, welcome back to Gas Butte Tabletop Football, where we've had a question, and that question is from Ryan Harper on the YouTube channel comments, and he puts, hello, I have some questions. I've never played Subbuteo, but because of you, I've just bought my first set. Do you play on MDF, and where do you get your stopwatch timer thing? As I really like it, thanks. And there you go. So that's very nice. Someone that, sorry, I'm crouching down again. I got crouched down. I think I said this before, because otherwise you'll miss me out. Anyway, so that's nice that people start playing Subbuteo just because they watch this. So that's good. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope you enjoy it. Now, some of these things, such as dimensions, I've covered in previous videos, and if I'm able to put the numbers in the comments of this one, I will do so in the video description, and they'll go into a bit more detail. But basically, so that we're not repeating ourselves, I'll just run over quickly. Yes, this is on a piece of MDF board, and although it's oversized for a pitch, all you really need is roughly 5 by 3 foot. If you've got 5 by 3 foot bit of board, that should be enough to put a Subbuteo pitch on there. Now, all the other stuff, I'll be honest with you, it's just fluff. You don't really need it. The important thing is a flat surface, and then you get your Subbuteo pitch on there. And if you can keep that as permanent, it will keep the pitch as level as it will be. Yeah, so that's that. Now, the other thing is, really since the start of Gas Butte, the whole point of it is I want other people to get into Subbuteo as I got into it. And I know some things can be a bit expensive, so really the sort of ethos is that you don't have to spend hundreds of pounds. So for me, I've got this MDF board under all this. I got that from B&Q. When I got it, I was waiting around for a bit, so I waited around till MDF was on some sort of offer. And at the time, although I've had this down for like 3.5 years now, so obviously prices move on, but at the time, B&Q had like an offer on, and it was for I think it was a 7 by 4 foot board of MDF, and in the offer it was 28 quid, and I think that was like half price or something. So I sort of jumped at that, because just so happens at the time I had some B&Q vouchers in my pocket I wasn't using, so I used them for that. Now that in itself, the MDF board, is sat on top of a dining room table. Now, again, I don't advocate you go out spending hundreds of pounds on things. So I'm going to get on my knees here. No, I'll get on the chair. So I'll tell you right now that I got my dining room table off Free to Collector. So it was free, cost me absolutely nothing. And my missus wanted the chairs. I said I'd use the table. Used the table, got the MDF board. So basically the whole thing cost me, well, you know, the underneath of it all cost me 28 quid in B&Q vouchers that I'd given to me anyway. So that was that. So what I'd say is, the most important thing you need is space. So it's all very well and good playing Subbuteo, but the most valuable thing anyone that's got a setup would say is they need somewhere to keep it all, because you'll play it a lot less if you're like dragging it out every 5 minutes and then putting it back, and then eventually you get a bit tired of doing that, and then you end up just not using it. So space is the most valuable thing you can have for a Subbuteo setup. Once you got that in, you really don't need to spend a lot of money. Look around for free to collector tables. That might be enough if you can get a big dining room table, and then you can just layer it up with a few bits and pieces. If you get a smaller dining room table like I got, then you need at least a 5 by 3 surface on the top. It doesn't have to be MDF. What I'll say though, if you do use MDF, make sure it's thick enough that it doesn't bend so much, because MDF, when it's weighty, has a tendency to sort of flex. Whereas if you get a nice bit of chipboard, that's probably a bit more solid. And you know, you can sort out the lumps and bumps in it by putting something else on top, so that's fine. It's just, MDF's convenient because it is smooth. So you need, I think it's 22 mil, it might be 18 mil, but I certainly wouldn't go any thinner than 18 mil. And also, you know, like I say, don't go out spending hundreds of pounds on things. If you go in B&Q, first thing I do, and I do this pretty much every time I go in B&Q, which is quite a lot anyway, for other stuff, is go up to where they do the custom cutting of bits of wood, see what they've got on offer. Because what you'll find is a lot of people will go in there and they'll buy a sheet of wood and they'll just want a bit of it and they'll leave the rest behind. And that happens all the time. Probably happens in Wicks as well, I don't know, but I know it definitely happens in B&Q. And also, little bits of MDF sheet or chipboard or whatever, they get damaged by the staff every now and then. No one's fault, but the company's still got to get rid of them. So you can get some really good deals on little level surfaces if you're prepared to just sort of chill out and go in quite regular. I got, for something entirely different, I got a massive piece of chipboard that you could fit a Subbuteo table on, which I actually used down the woods or something. And that cost me, because it was damaged in one corner, it cost me something like £4. And it's this huge, great, I could have made a Subbuteo table out of it. And all I did was trim the end off. So I trimmed off a couple of inches, that squared it off, and then I can use it for whatever I want to use it for. So that's that. So that's that thing. What else did you ask? Sorry, my computer's gone off now. Where did you get your stopwatch timer? This little stopwatch here. Now, I'll be honest with you, I don't remember exactly, but if I am, I suppose, a bit of a creature of habit, so it'll probably be off Amazon. So if you just put stopwatch on Amazon, and something like this should come up. There'll be hundreds of things like this, and it's really not very expensive. You know, this would have cost me, I can't remember how much it was, but it's not going to be more than a £5. It's something cheap, yeah. And I just got it because it had the batteries in already, basically. It was ready to go. And my thoughts are, for that price, if the batteries run out, which they will do eventually, because it stays on, the screen never turns off. If that runs out eventually, then I can just see how much the batteries are going to be. And if the price of a brand new one is a sort of similar price as getting new batteries, I'll just get a new one because it costs £4. But I've had this for like a good couple of years in here now, so, and it's still going. I expect next week it will pack up now. But so yeah, again, don't have to spend a lot of money. In regards to starting Subbuteo, it's good that you're starting to play it. That's great. What I say is, when you first start off, don't get bogged down in it, because it's very easy. Pick up a rule book or chat to some people on some of the forums who are into the sort of more exact and more complex rules. And, you know, that might kind of put you off a little bit. I'd say at the start, keep it simple. Keep it cheap. Keep it simple. Just play. You've probably read the rules, so you know the basic sort of layout of it all. 3 flicks on a player. Then you've got to pass to another one. Meanwhile, your opposing team, it can do a defensive flick for every flick that you do after you've done yours. And then you lose possession if you knock it across the line, so you've got to throw in, miss the ball, in which case the other team gets possession, or the ball hits one of their players, in which case they get possession, or you score a goal, in which case you set up again and you know, and then they've got possession for the kickoff. I'd say at the start, just keep it at that. You can always, when you get used to it, start adding in offside. Don't worry about offside at the start. No matter what anyone says, don't worry about it. All these sort of little throw-in rules as well, don't worry about them. You know, the whole point of it is meant to be a bit of fun. So keep it fun, keep it permanent, keep it cheap, and you'll use it more often. And then you'll find gradually, without really realising it, you'll build things up, and one day you'll end up with something like this. And this isn't even that grand. You know, there's some people in the Subbuteo community have got really impressive stadiums set up. And they all start, like anything, all starts with the smallest step. So your first step is your way, and then eventually you end up with what you want to end up with. I don't think this is going to grow any bigger than this, so it's always going to be like this. I may do improvements. These stands, obviously, if you've been following the channel or looked at any of the old videos, made them myself. They didn't cost anything really, apart from my time. Because I like building things and messing around with things. I didn't mind doing that. But they got the MDF that they're made out of, which is 4mm, or is it 3mm MDF. That, for all these stands, must have cost me no more than I'm trying to think how much it was now. It was a while ago. I think it was £4 or something like that, or £6 for a box of 10 A4 sheets. So you had 10 lots of A4. I bought 2 of them. If you bought 2, it was buy 2 get 1 free. So I ended up with 30 A4 sheets for something like £10 or £12 or £15 or something like that. And I built all this out of it. So, you know, that basically cost me tops £15 with glue, £20 to get all that. So yeah, keep it simple, keep it cheap. Hope you enjoy it. If you've got any more questions, add them into the comments and I'll answer them when I can. Bear with me. As anyone will tell you a bit on this channel, I've got a real life house like this, so it takes me a bit of a time sometimes to get down here. I'd love it if this was my job, that'd be great, but it's not. Unfortunately, I've got a very different job, which requires a lot of time, and I got a missus, which requires a bit of time, bless her, and I've got other hobbies as well, which also require time. So I really only do this when it's the weather's so bad that I can't do all the other things that I have to do. But yeah, hope you enjoy it, hope you get into it, and keep it cheap, keep it fun, and don't let anyone put you off. That's the most important thing. Oh, and just keep at it as well. Because it's like with anything, you know, when you first start doing something, you're rubbish. And then it really takes just doing it over and over again until one day you think, oh, I've got the hang of that little bit of it. And then another day you get an hang of another little bit of it. I didn't play Subbuteo when I was young. I was a nuisance when I was young. So I only got into Subbuteo in 2019. I obviously knew about it, but I only got into it in 2019. So I learned from there. So I'm a beginner, really. But the more you play it, you know, the better you get. All right? Anyway, hope that answers that. I've got to nip back to the house and sort a few things out. Until next time, up the gas.